We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. Pre-recorded show tonight, as promised, with my two co-stars, the legends, Rye and Ted. How are you, lads?
Very well, mate. It's weird seeing you at this time of night, but you know, I'm not used to this.
It is mental.
It's 6 a.m. for me. It's 6 a.m. This is the normal brekkie show for you guys. So.
Try not to wake the band up then, Rye. Eh?
People are saying, how do you know each other? How do you know each other? Well, this is how we know each other. We've got a show. It's called the Northeast Footy Breakfast Show, and it's Steve, Rye and Ted. It's live on the Tune, the Red or the Cat. Obviously, the way that I promote it is the tuneuk.com, but you can get it on all 3 radio stations. Ted, the Mackem, represents Sunderland. Rye represents Middlesbrough. And we've been doing this since August, and it's been an absolute blast. We'll talk about that first, Rye. I mean, you know, we got approached, didn't we, by a guy we fondly call Radio Dad, Dave Roberts, formerly of the Sky Parish. But it's been a laugh, Rye, hasn't it?
It has been fantastic. It's been a great opportunity. Yeah, he reached out, I think, just after the Riley McGree interview. I was working with the club doing a bit of my own stuff on the side. And ever since I joined up, it's been a right hoot. And then we finally got Ted the Mackem to join us as well. Do you know what I mean? So, and then, you know, he just brings in What the Fact and all these other weird stuff. And I love it. I love it. I look forward to it each day now. Honestly, it's, the banter, the laughs, the talks, they're just hilarious. And I highly, highly recommend you check the show out.
I'll tell you what we ended up with as well. We've ended up with like loads of fans since Ted joined the show. Listen. Fantastic. We never had any of this until Ted joined the show.
It's the screams of my victims.
Next to you in that radiator, mate, where you record the headlines. That's where they are.
But I mean, obviously, getting you on board was great. I mean, you know, we've had 1 or 2 guest Sunderland supporters who've come on over the course of the season, and it's been great. But it's about chemistry, I guess, Ted. And I mean, you know, we've had some great banter, haven't we? Me and you, but you and Rye, obviously, because you're both in the championship at the minute. You know, you're both going for that playoff position, hoping to get back into the promised land of the Premier League. Although I wouldn't rush; it's crap. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. You've enjoyed it as well, haven't you?
I've loved it. I mean, I was supposed to join you lads at the beginning as well, but with, you know, obviously I've got to work a day job as well and all that sort of thing. So complications with that. Wasn't the right time, but you know, if it's right, it's right, and it'll come back again. And the opportunity was there, and obviously joining with you lads. I think I've said this on the show many a times. It doesn't matter about the rivalry essentially with this. This for me is getting up, getting a coffee and going talking about the football with my two mates and Radio Dad or Radio Uncle, whoever's doing the production side of things for us. But it's all about that, and it's about having the crack with your mates. And I think that's why people are cottoning onto this so well and really starting to enjoy it, because listen, we're not special. I'm not any sort of media-trained professional or anything like that. I just speak honestly about what I love about football and what I love about my club. And you lads are very much the same, although Steve's a bit more media-savvy than the pair of us, Rye, isn't he?
He is.
He's the superstar, you know, movie star and everything. He's a bit of a darling.
I think I'm the one that gives Radio Dad, though, a few heart attacks, because I do sail close to the wind, don't I, with some of the stuff that I say. Like I think
you're a bad influence, Steve. I think we're all getting a little bit. I listened back to the show this morning on the podcast, and I'm going, oh,
yeah.
It's good track. Well, obviously we've got a huge game coming up, and we are going to look at the Sunderland game and talk about it. I mean, I think my viewers on NUFC Matters will be interested to know, you know, who the threats are going to be, you know, and in your team and what you think, I guess, as a Sunderland fan of Newcastle. But I just want to talk to Rye about the Carabao Cup. Newcastle really did feel, our fans really felt as if we were going to get back to Wembley again this year. We had a wonderful journey there last year, and it was a great day out, spoilt, of course, by the end result. How many times do Northeastern teams say that? Borough, of course, the last team to win a trophy. You know, we kind of forget that. But Newcastle, of course, thought it was their year last year. We just didn't get the rub of the green, and Manchester United, you know, did, and the rest history. But this year, I've got to be honest, I did think we were going to get back there, and that was my priority. We didn't, but Middlesbrough have got an opportunity now against Chelsea, two-legged semi, right? Confident about that, do you think?
I am. I'm semi-confident. You can't not be against Chelsea, can you? I mean, they like to spend the billions, but they don't like to play the football, the core essence that they need to do. So they're buying everyone. Yeah, I'm very, very confident going in. I mean, you can't not be, do you know what I mean? There's no point reaching a semi-final and going, oh, no, that's it sort of thing. I'm ever the optimist. I'm always proud of this team. And we've got a bad run of injuries, but there is a Siki signing in the works. Can't say too much, but we've got a few players coming back from injury. We've got a couple of signings coming in. Might be cup tied. We'll see how we go, but I'm very, very up for it. We start off at the Riverside, where you'd want to start as well, get that home tie, get the advantage. And, you know, look, Chelsea on their day, obviously, you know, can be very good, but they can also be very poor. So I'm very, very confident going in, and it's our big thing this season. You guys have got the Derby and the FA Cup. We're kind of not worrying about the FA Cup, to be honest with you. It's all about this Carabao Cup next week, and we couldn't be proud of the lads. Come on, bub.
Do you think it's affected your league form? Because obviously you've slipped away from that. You know, it's so tight. I mean, 2 wins and you're back in the playoff. You know, back in the playoff chances. But from your perspective, has it affected the league form slightly?
Well, I think it's affected our run of injuries more, I would say. I think the nature of the increased fixtures has increased the amount of injuries we've got. So I guess that's in turn has affected our performance definitely in the league, because we haven't had a full squad to pick from. So there's games there that we should have probably won had we had a fit Riley McGree, the Aussie, or, you know, Joshy Coburn, fit strikers, a fit, you know, goalkeeper and centre back as well. So I guess in turn, yes, it has. But I think Carrick has still managed it quite well. I mean, we're still only 4 points off. We've had 14 players out injured, and we're in a semi-final. I mean, you couldn't have managed it much better than that. So I guess to answer your question, yeah, you know, it has definitely, because there is the spate of injuries. But still, I think, you know, any team would want the chance to be where we are next week.
Now, you've played Sunderland this season.
We have.
What was your take on Sunderland as a team? Yeah, you won the game, and I'm going to give Ted a right to reply on this after your comment. But
Thanks.
You know, you played Sunderland. What was your take on that game?
It was easy. I mean, it was not. I mean, it was good up until Dan Neil decided to jog on at the referee, the Aussie referee, Jared Gillette. Hey, mate, if you're watching as well, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You know, until they got the red card, it was a pretty even contest, to be honest with you. We were pretty nip and heel. We were, you know, it was going to be ebb and flow. And then obviously the red card changed the game. They had 45 minutes in the second half where we just managed to, you know, then walk through a 10-man squad. So, and we put 4 past them, and, you know, we won't let them forget it. But I'm guessing it's going to be, I'm predicting at the end of start of Feb that we're going to be placing Sunderland again. It's going to be a very different outfit. I mean, they've got Michael Beale now. They've got, boys back from injuries as well. They've finally got a striker that scored a goal. Hooray, Sunderland! Hey, I'm with you there. So it's going to be a different game. But yeah, for the first leg, it was all Borough, and I was very, very happy with that win. But the red card, did change the game for us, definitely.
Okay, Ted, your thoughts on that game? That obviously you came away with a crushing defeat, but I mean, was that a fair result? Was it a fair reflection of the game?
Yeah, I mean, the sending off absolutely, it didn't just change the game, it ruined the game. I think Rys absolutely right. It was very, very close. It was very tight. It had all the hallmarks of what I call the derbish. It's not a derby. It's like a derby, but it's not quite a derby, So yes, the derbish was off to a decent start. Look, I'll argue till I'm blue in the face that Dan Neil didn't deserve to be sent off for that. I think a talking to from the referee would have been sufficient for that. I thought it was a very weak sending off, especially being as the referee before the game had said he was going to give it a chance to flow, the players to express themselves, as long as it wasn't, over the top and silly challenges, things like that. And that's the sort of thing that ruins games. Steve, you remember the bond back at the Stadium of Light a few years ago when Newcastle came to town and Colaccini got sent off. Yeah. The challenge, I think it was on Darren Fletcher. Sorry, Stephen Fletcher. We've never had Darren Fletcher. That would have been very difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, in all honesty, you look back at it now and go, "Oh, ropey that." But as Rys saying, I think the teams are very evenly matched. I think we come from a place and we come from an ideology that's not too dissimilar from each other. It's a one that puts a lot of emphasis on bringing youth through. I think possibly Sunderland edged that. I mean, the average age of the squad's only 23, but evenly matched. We're not. I know I joke on and I take the mick out of them all the time, saying mind the gap and all that sort of thing, which you really should. But you should. But I think you even said, Steve, it's going to be pretty close by the end of the season between the two teams. That game in February. Yeah, there's a lot riding on that. I mean, that's not a promotion 6-pointer, but certainly a playoff 6-pointer, if you like. It's Middlesbrough will come good. I think that, those couple of additions that they need to get through the door in defence, they'll get them through. That'll tidy them up at the back. Going forward, they can get goals. Greenwood, who it still pains me to this day that he came through our academy and we got rid, but yeah. These things happen. We've always got one of them that bites us on the backside. Greenwood's a cracking player. Coburn's starting to find the net a little bit more frequently. He's a player I like when he doesn't roll around the floor trying to get free kicks. But genuinely, he is a player I like. Latte Lath is another one who I think he can get more goals and add them to his game as well. So yeah. We've got our own thing. Obviously, we'll cover who I think our dangers are. But we've got a decent enough squad that can match Middlesbrough, and I think we owe them one. I don't think we'll beat them 4-0 when we come down to the Riverside. And even if we did, there wouldn't be that many of you fans there to see it, right?
Okay, cut him off.
There we go. I mean, just generally, right? I mean, looking at the top of the Championship table, we've discussed this on a morning show, but Leicester City, Southampton, and Leeds, the three teams that came down, fill the top 4 places, and yeah. Ipswich, obviously second place at the moment, refound a bit of form. West Brom in there. And then, we look down at Sunderland, Hull City, Coventry. Middlesbrough down in 12th, but only on 36 points as we speak, 4 points behind Sunderland. Like I say, it's all to play for. My prediction at the start of the season was you'd push each other for that playoff place. I thought you'd both be in the playoffs this season. It still could happen. There's always a team that drops away. There's always a team that makes a resurgence. Middlesbrough could be that team. But yeah, I mean, what's your views on the second half of the season? How do you see it panning out for Middlesbrough?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we've got a big January ahead of us. We've got to get some of these boys back from injury. We've got to get Riley McGree, Sammy Silvera through this international Asian Cup. They're obviously away. We've got Seni Dieng, our #1 keeper, away with AFCON now representing Senegal as well. So we've got to get through that. We've got to get some signings in the door. And then I think we can sort of sit down and go, right, where are we at? Let's have a bit of a push then. I think the table is still it's lying, to quote Jonathan Woodgate. I feel like there's a few teams in there that are still, they're just not as consistent as they need to be to staying up there. I talk about the West Brom, we beat them 1-0. Ipswich now, we spoke about this on the radio the other day. I mean, George Hurst is now injured. They're struggling with goals now, and they've drawn like the last 4 or 5 games, so they're starting to slide a little bit as well. So I think there's still a lot to play out in terms of that top half, if that top 6, if you will, in the championship. And I think for us, our focus now is we got to get through this cup tie with Chelsea, see where that leaves us. That's our big focus now. And then we've got to recruit well in January. We've got a couple of boys coming in. That we've got one that's we just spoke about on social media that I won't give away, but it's quite exciting. And we've got a couple more boys to come back in and just fill those, fatten the squad up, if you will. And then we can have a quite good run. We left our run around late last season, much like Coventry. We were sort of here or hereabouts last season, and then we ended up, getting into the playoffs quite well, and obviously losing out to Coventry. But I still think we're right up there. To be within 4 points, an injury-plagued squad. January now, we'll know by come February whether we're still in the Carabao Cup, and it'll just be the final. So our fixture list is starting to reduce a little bit. I don't expect us to get past Aston Villa this weekend in the FA Cup, so I guess the FA Cup's probably going to be put to a side as well. So the fixtures start to ease a bit. Carabao Cup's out of the way, new January signings, injuries back, and we'll be right there. I think we'll be right up there. I think Carrick's too good a manager not to be, and I think that the squad's got enough depth and enough skill in there to start pushing probably from February onwards.
Okay, Ted, Sunderland sitting in 6th place, 40 points, found a bit of form since Beale came in, Real Madrid.
Real Madrid!
But I mean, I guess the team that you've got to focus on, as a Sunderland fan, is Southampton, because they're sitting in 3rd place. They've got 52 points, 12 points. It's a big gap, but I've seen bigger gaps than that disappear as a Newcastle fan in the Championship and in the Premier League. So is that Sunderland's aim, do you think, just to gradually chip away at that point total and potentially get in and around Southampton, and then you never know. If Ipswich fall away, there could be a battle for 2nd place.
I think so. I think you've just kind of got to look after your own results, and maybe it's not so much be aiming to topple anybody in particular. I mean, I'll give you for example, Steve. We're on the same amount of points as what we were this time last season, and we were in 4th this time last season. Now that tells you something about the quality that's in the Championship this year, because seriously, it's a step up compared to last season. Rye, I think you'll agree with that. The quality that Leicester City's brought to it. Ipswich, who's caught everybody by surprise, to be honest. Even though Ipswich fans were actually making big noises about it from the start of the season. But fair play to them. Yeah, Southampton, they're going to be up there. Of course they are, because they're in a similar position to Leicester City, where they've got parachute payments. They're a well-off club. They can attract talent to that part of the world as well. That's a difficult thing to do in the Northeast, as we've seen in the past. Players are reluctant to come to the Northeast sometimes, unless you can fool them into thinking it's nearer to London. Hi, Rob Lee, if you're watching.
Just watch.
Oh, great. Sorry, Rob. I'm not. But we've already proven, look, the Southampton, we've got nothing to fear with them, because we absolutely trounced them 5-0 towards the beginning of the season. And to be honest, I didn't see what the fuss was about. I've still seen nothing really from them where I'm kind of going, well, how on earth have they got into 3rd place? They've kind of just quietly got about their business. I'm more concerned about the West Broms, because they could take it up. They've got a squad that's been invested in very, very heavily. Whether they're going to afford to keep them or not is another argument for financial fair play, of course. But the likes of them and whole cities, people like that, people who are in and around us, the big one to watch out for is Coventry City. Because they've just turned it on. You talk about teams making a late push. Coventry looked like dead and buried. They looked like relegation candidates a few weeks ago. All of a sudden, they're starting to put back-to-back wins together. They've put 6 goals past Sunderland and Middlesbrough over 2 games, only conceded 1, and all of a sudden they look like world beaters. So, as much as yes, I do agree. You've kind of got to have a points tally in mind, maybe. I think it's no good kind of having a target of a team to try and beat, because it's absolutely crazy down there. So I think plug away at it. Obviously, we've got a break from the league this weekend anyway, but we're straight back to it after that, and we've just got to push on. I sound like a manager, but take every day as it comes. I like what Beale's doing. I genuinely do, and you both know, I was very, very much against the appointment from the start. I was very vocal about that, to the point that the club were probably sick of seeing me on Twitter, or X as it's now known as. I wasn't happy at all about it. Having said that, he's starting to tweak things, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. There's just little bits of tactical play where I think, and see what a few of these players are talking about in terms of his knowledge of the game and how to get the best. This guy is no mug. He's studied all across the world. He's studied all different kinds of the game. He's studied futsal from the skill side of things. He's taken in games in Portugal. This guy just eats football. He loves the knowledge of it all. And if he's any good as a coach, as what some people are saying he is, then I think we're in for interesting times. But form, it's starting to improve. Things are looking good.
Yeah, okay. It's a complete polar opposite at Newcastle, lads. I'm going to be honest. Honestly, I mean, 4 weeks ago, Newcastle United were in dreamland. I was, jokingly saying that we were, the only team still in contention for the quadruple. We had the Carabao Cup quarter-final to look forward to. We had the FA Cup on the horizon. The draw against Sunderland was one which was met with euphoria on Tyne side. We were, doing very, very well in the league, despite the fact that we had the Champions League. And in the Champions League group of death at one point, Newcastle had beaten PSG 4-1. Mbappe had, Mbappe embarrassed at St James's Park, the greatest European night in Newcastle's history after Barcelona at home. And everything in the garden looked, rosy. But now, 4 weeks on, it's doom and gloom. We've had an annus horribilis within 1 month rather than through 12 months. All came at the same time. Disastrous results. We had 2 bankers against Luton and Notts Forest, which should have been 6 points in the bag. We couldn't. We literally couldn't. We can't kick a football now. We can't defend, and it's just all gone wrong. And now, because of X, formerly known as Twitter, going into meltdown, there's a complete imbalance of how the support feels. People aren't happy. The natives are restless. But having said that, form goes out the window in a derby, and that's the one thing I guess I'm clinging to. Ted, I'll come to you first. This match, especially in Sunderland's form in the derbies in recent times, 6 wins for Sunderland. The last game, of course, was a draw, 1-1. Mitrovic managing to score for Newcastle. But Sunderland fans must be licking their lips at this, because this is, well, it's a no-lose derby for you, this. If you get beaten, you'll point, I guess, to the fact that your team cost X amount, our teams cost X amount, and we're in the Premier League and you're in the Championship. If you win this game, then wow.
Then you'll block me.
We're not going to hear the end of this. I think you know me now. In the short period we've worked with each other, I think you know what I'm like, and I'll not be happy, but I'm always honest about you.
You're a realist, yeah.
I am, because we're at that age, aren't we? Well, I certainly,
not quite, Steve.
me and the lads on my platform, we're all at that age now where when you get up, you groan, you make a noise.
I'm catching you up.
We're all follically, a lot of us are follically challenged, mainly because of watching Newcastle over the years, and Mike Ashley has a lot to answer for. But I think that's why we're realists, certainly on the breakfast show. But yeah, this is a free hit, I guess, for Sunderland.
It is in some respects, mate. And I think it's a bit of a 50-50 feeling. There's some fans are going like, well, there's never been a better time to play them, even though, we're outgunned, we're outclassed, because it's a £300 million squad. Ours has been put together for, I think, something like just a shade over 9 million. That's the whole squad. That's incredible. It's just unreal to see it. So yes, there is that edge of like sort of, okay, Newcastle are kind of going in through one of the worst bits of form I've seen them in for at least a couple of years now. But that won't last. Is the thing that's in the back of my mind. It's what is it to say? Form is temporary, class is permanent. And you know, as much as it absolutely sticks in here to say it, they are a class outfit on their day. You don't take PSG apart 4-1 if you're a crap side. You know, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
However, I think I would almost accept a defeat, say if it's a 2-1 or a 2-0, something like that. If we don't embarrass ourselves and we go out there and give a workmanlike performance, put the tackles in that we know, you know, the likes of Trey Hume absolutely loves a tackle. We'll cheer that as loudly as we'll cheer a goal. If we see effort and commitment going in, we'll take that. My big fear is that Newcastle actually turn up and go, yeah, we've just remembered we're a Premier League side and we'll put 8 past Sheffield United and we're going to do the same to this lot. And that would potentially wreck our season if that happened. I think it would destroy a lot of confidence. I think the fans would certainly not get on the players' backs as such because the young lads, and I love watching this side play. It's the most incredible football I think I've seen in the time that I've been a Sunderland fan. It's just fantastic to watch. I'm talking even better than the Reid years in terms of the class of football that's being played. But the fans will get on the owners' backs absolutely immediately if we get absolutely trounced by Newcastle, because the arguments will be there that there's a lack of experience, there's a lack of investment. You know, we're missing out on players, you know, 4s and 5 millions where you think you can afford to do that in the Championship. The TV money isn't bad. We're never off the TV. You know, we get a lot of games covered on the likes of Sky, and you know, the money has got to be there somewhere. I get it that Sunderland were losing money hand over fist. And Kieran Louis-Dreyfus has done a good job in steadying the ship, getting us on an even keel, making sure we didn't go out of business. But at the same time, come on, you've got to speculate a little bit as well. And if we get taken apart by our nearest and dearest up the road, there's going to be a lot of ill feeling towards them indeed. But it's so close to call. I feel sick about it now. I feel physically ill about this derby. Purely because of the fact I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be one of them where, you know, with every kind of bit of sense and common sense that I use, everything points to a Newcastle win because of the class of them. But it's the what if. It's that sort of 5% where you go, we could, and it'll be one of the most famous derby victories of all time.
Well, obviously we brought Ryan because Ryan's a Borough fan. He's a neutral on this, and we brought him in as well because we wanted to use this as a good opportunity to promote the North East Footy Breckley show, which is on Monday to Friday. Ryan.
How come I'm last?
Well, because it's my flyer. Get your own channel. Put your thing on.
What, Will?
But basically, you can find us as I said every morning, and it's 7 o'clock until 9. It's a great way to start your day. I promote the tune.uk.com as where you can listen to it. But there are 3 stations: the Tune, the Rat, the Tune, the Cat, the Tune, the Cat, and the Red.
I see. I wonder on here.
It's a classic. So basically,
what a way to describe the Smoggies. And then two rats down there.
Interesting, but I bring that up to the listeners. Hey,
there's a rat and rice kitchen along with the what else? You get the spiders, the spiders.
Yeah, true.
You get them, and what else? Kangaroos.
Snakes. Yeah, everything.
Right. But yeah, we're halfway through the show. So, Rys, second half of the show, after the ads, I'm going to leave it to you. You can ask us some questions about the game, and we'll hand over the reins to you. So here's the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors: Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. Thanks again to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. If you'd like to order some, then give them a call on 01768 210 102. Go to the website, mrvickies.co.uk, or drop them an email, info@mrvickies.co.uk. A big thanks to United Group Travel. They're a family firm based in Morpeth with pickups throughout the Northeast. No strangers on our tours, just people you haven't met yet. They've got a presence on Facebook and a website, unitedgrouptravel.com. If you want to make a booking, give them a call on 01670 632 460 or mobiles 0791 666 4174 0795 71 41654. Thanks to Darren Baldwin Funerals, independent funeral directors. Let us look after you in your time of need. They're based on Old Durham Road in Gateshead, and you can contact them at their website, darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk. Email Darren at darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk or give them a call, 0191 478 2730. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And a big thanks to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. If you want to help the channel, hit the thumb up to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and share to your other social media. You can also pay a one-off fee of £25 to get a scarf, a cup, a pen, and a membership card. Go to the website, nufcmatters.com, and click membership, or put your smartphone over this QR code. We also support the food bank on this channel. If you want to make some donations virtually, go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and make a donation today. We're also a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast providers. Just search NUFC Matters. I'm also a part of the Northeast Footy Brekkie Show. You can listen to that Monday to Friday, 7 till 9 at thetuneuk.com. We've also got an event coming up next year. It's in January the 19th at the Tyneside Irish Centre. It's an evening with Nobby Solano. Tickets are available on voucher for £20. Don't forget, Supermac and Gibbo do every pre-match at Louis Liquor Store. It's free entry, children welcome, and there is great food by Fed's Fried Chicken. They're usually on pre-match and sometimes post-match at Louis Liquor Store. Okay, welcome back. I'm handing over to Rye.
Yes,
Over
the referee.
to you, go for it.
The referee here today to just separate you two. All right, it's been a bit angry. All right, the radio show's been booming from both left and right, but it's good to be here and actually see your faces because we've got to talk about it. I've been building it up just as a mutual here on the weekend. It's going to be a massive weekend. Obviously, I sit in the middle of you guys Monday to Friday in the breakfast show. So next week's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to Monday's show with whoever gets the winning and the losing
well, someone
team.
is.
We've got to talk about it, obviously, in great depth. The first thing I want to start off with, though, lads, we've got to talk about is the ticketing and obviously how Newcastle are getting to the game and stuff like that. It seems to be a bit of a joint, I guess, sort of displeasement with how it's been handled. We heard Steve talking on the radio this morning about having to get up to go to the bus trip going down. It sounded like a school excursion, the way they're filtering the fans in with their soft ticketing system. I said on the radio I was scared what a hard ticketing system is. And then we got to talk to Ted about the fact they gave away 6,000 tickets to Newcastle, obviously. And we've also got to decide as well a few other things, talk about team selection, stuff like that. And whether it's the Weir Tyne or the Tyne Weir Derby. Oh, we'll just see. Hey, look at me pushing buttons. I'll start off with you, Steve. Talk to me about the way you're getting to the game and how you feel about the bus trip and how it's just generally been organised for you to get to this derby.
I've gone to the Weir Tyne Derby. That's what it is at the moment because it's on Weir side, this one.
Yeah.
I've been to the Weir Tyne Derby since 1985. I haven't missed one at Roker Park or at the Stadium of Light. I've also been to the Papa John, was it, trophy game. I've been down to reserve games. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the rivalry. And I enjoy watching the two teams compete. For me personally, getting there on the bus is not ideal. I've always travelled by train. You get the real sense of the derby and the atmosphere by getting down to Central Station, getting onto the football special trains, and arriving in Seaburn and then being escorted down, which is the way we've always done it. People can go up and have gone on the bus in the past, but I've always enjoyed going on the train with my mates. And we because of the bizarre kickoff times, we've always found a bar or two which has opened up early to allow us to go in. We'll probably end up going to the Black Garter, a bar which you wouldn't frequent at any other time other than the derby game. But we'd go to the Black Garter and then have a walk down and get the train. And the atmosphere was great. I mean, you're packed onto the train, you get there, and it's great, man. It's great and part of it. I mean, back in the 80s, hooliganism was rife. It's sad to say. I saw some horrendous scenes, both in Newcastle and in Sunderland, where certain elements, were chucking bricks and bottles and stuff at each other. You just got to screw your loaf on when you go to a derby. Don't be in the wrong place at the wrong time is my best advice. But with this bus trip situation, it's going to be completely different. We're basically given an allocated time to get to the ground. We have to queue up. Through underneath the Milburn stand. We then have to get to the, get onto your bus, you hand your ticket in. There'll be a ticket check as you're going up to queue for the bus. They'll just check that you've got a ticket to get on the bus. When you get on the bus, they'll then take your bus ticket off you and give you your match day ticket. So my understanding is, and it's still a little bit unclear, that you will get on a bus, and if you get on with somebody who is on the same bus as you, you will get a ticket which is sitting next to them. Travel group isn't in operation this time, so it means that you're not going to get, if you don't get on the same bus as your mates, you're not going to be sitting with your mates. So that in itself's a little bit bizarre. I think it's taken away that kind of, the one thing you want to do is go to the match with your family, etc. Well, yeah. I can imagine there's going to be a few disappointed people on the day. I'm not against it because that's why we've got 6,000 tickets. It's the FA Cup. You get 15% share of the tickets, and that's the rules. So Newcastle haven't been given 15%. They've been given 1,200 less than they could have had. They could have had 7,200. The fans groups, the trust and the supporters clubs were involved in meetings with Newcastle United, Sunderland, and with Northumbria Police. It's the police that pushed for lesser allocation. And that's where we're at. We've got 6,000 tickets. We should be delighted with that. The fact we can't travel down on our own, I guess if that was the only way we're allowed to get 6,000, then so be it. It's given us a great opportunity to support the team in a game which is very important to us. If there was only 3,000 of us there, we'd still make a noise, but it wouldn't be anything like 6,000. And I think everybody will be well up for it. The Newcastle fans will certainly be well up for it. It's upset the apple cart with the Sunderland fans, and I completely understand why. But at the same time, that is the rules. And if there's a replay, which there could be, then Sunderland fans are going to have the same allocation at Newcastle. That'll have been a done deal. And there is a possibility it could be a replay. So the Sunderland fans will have 6,000 at St James's Park, I would imagine, on a Wednesday night. So we'll wait and see, but I'm not against it. We've got 6,000 tickets because that's how we're allowed down there. So I hope that answers your question, mate.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Ted, over to you, mate. We got to talk about, obviously, we took that allocation of 6,000 tickets, including hospitality. At first, you were quite, the fans forum, obviously, you run on Facebook and that, they were quite livid when that news came out. You were quite vocal about it all. How do you feel? Obviously, you won't be attending the match, but how do you feel, obviously, as a diehard Mackem, that there's going to be 6,000 tickets, 6,000 Newcastle fans in the Stadium of Light, and how do you think that was handled by your club because it's obviously at your home ground?
I can answer that in one word: appallingly. It was handled appallingly. There's no other way to put it. Huge disrespect of the season ticket holders. Let's be honest. Just for anybody who isn't aware, maybe there's a couple of neutrals joining in. To make space for the 6,000 Newcastle fans, a lot of our season ticket holders are being ousted from their seats. Normally, even though, yes, it's a cup game, they would have first refusal over those seats and be able to buy tickets to them. I'm sure it's the same at St James's as well, Steve. Probably the same at the Riverside for the 13 season ticket holders you've got right. But yeah, look, it was handled badly. There's no other way to put this. There was no consultation with the fans. The fans feel like basically the red carpet has almost been rolled out for Newcastle in the fact that they've been giving them corporate hospitality as well. Yay. 700 tickets, corporate hospitality, by the way. 700. It's absolutely flabbergasting still. Look, 6,000 tickets is, yeah, Steve's absolutely 100% right. Look, yes, there would normally be entitled to 15% of the gate, and we all understand that. But from a policing point of view, I just don't understand how they've arrived at 6,000 being a safe number. And I'm not just talking like sort of, I don't think that just Newcastle fans are going to cause trouble, because there's an element of Sunderland fans, Steve's already alluded to. We've seen those sites in the past. Stuff's getting thrown. There's always, you know, there's always one idiot in the village, so to speak. So, yeah, look, 6,000 is a lot of people to try and police. Bearing in mind, we've had trouble from the likes of Coventry City, where they've had like 1,800 fans there, and there's flares being thrown down at home fans, hitting kids, hitting disabled fans, all that sort of thing. That was with less than 2,000. Bringing 6,000 fans into a stadium, which is, look, there'll not be a more hotly contested match. This is the biggest game of the FA Cup, possibly even bigger than the final, depending on who gets there. It is that much of a tinderbox. That it's going to be huge. The atmosphere is going to be red hot. It's going to be passionate. I just think that 6,000 fans, I worry about that. And not just from the fact that, you know, the Geordies are going to make lots of noise. Of course they are. Our away fans, you know, between Sunderland, Newcastle, Borough have got a fantastic away following as well. They are the most vociferous fans in the whole of the country, the North East football fans. They are absolutely just incredible when you hear them away. It is just something to behold. And of course they're going to make that noise, but it's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that, in their infinite wisdom, the chief safety officer at Sunderland AFC, who is an ex-copper, by the way, has obviously spoken with Northumbria Police. I don't care. I'm going to say it. And I don't understand their logic. I really don't understand the logic with this one. I think a safer number, and, you know, being able to travel like what you normally do on the trains, if you take 3,500, maybe even 4,000, you could probably get away and police that properly, where people could be like adults and actually travel like adults, instead of doing this school dinner thing of, there's your soft ticket, you need to show that to the man, they say you can get on the bus. When you get on the bus, you show the man the other ticket. That's when you get your seating ticket. Mate, it's easier to join the Masons. Absolutely incredible. I actually almost feel sorry for you. It's just ridiculous. I've never known anything like it. Honestly, it's absolutely incredible. I just think all of that could have been avoided by going, do you know what? 4,000 is a sensible number. We don't have to hack off all of our season ticket holders. And there's a lot of ill feeling about that. I showed you some of the stickers that's been left on some of the seats as messages for the Newcastle fans, which I'm sure the fans will love reading some of them. It's all full of goodwill, obviously. Yeah,
of course it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've covered what's happening off the pitch, obviously, with the fans and the travel and everything like that. Let's talk what about the boys on the pitch. Obviously, Stevie, the Newcastle run of late hasn't been the greatest. Obviously, you've been ruined by injuries. You've lost Nick Pope. You've had Dubravka come in, who hasn't been stellar. You've had some defensive issues. How confident are you going in now to Sunderland than you were, say, about a month ago?
A month ago, this was a formality. Despite the Derby, I just genuinely felt, you know, we were going to cruise it. Yeah. But now, you know, I am going into it with a bit of trepidation. And I think you look at the team that Newcastle put out against Liverpool. On paper, that team was very good, but performance levels are far way beyond what we were doing 4 or 5 weeks ago. For whatever reason, we don't seem united. We don't seem as if we're playing as a team. There seems to be a lot of confusion. with simple tasks at the back. Look, Liverpool are a great team. Newcastle are nowhere near Liverpool's level at this moment in time. Liverpool had 34 shots on target, I think it was, or 34 shots a goal. You know, it's not a good position for us to be going into a local derby on the crest of a slump, which is where we're at. So confidence levels are low. You know, we're looking at potentially not having Trippier back. I'd love to think that was a red herring. We know we discussed this on the radio show on many occasions about Eddie Howe not giving much away in press conferences. I'd love to see Trippier back. I think he would be a key player in this game. Callum Wilson, we're led to believe, is abroad having treatment. We reckon that he could miss this game and probably the Man City game. Yeah, which leaves us with one striker in Isak, who is in good form. He should worry Sunderland fans. Sunderland should be worried about him because he's in good form. He's our top scorer, and the finish against Liverpool was sublime. You get what you pay for with him, but again, he's often injury prone. That's the worry. But no, you know, Anthony Gordon, he's playing. He's not playing to his usual levels. Is he knackered? Is he injured? Who knows? But he'll be available at the weekend. And we're midfield, and we've discussed this on the Northeast Footy Brekkie show. You know, is on paper should Muller Sunderland's midfield. You know, there shouldn't be any competition between our midfield of Bruno and Joe Linton, two Brazilian internationals, against Sunderland's midfield. However, they go in like a bull in a china shop at times, and their remit at the moment seems to be, if we can't win the game, we're just going to kick people up a height. And that's not advisable in a derby game, because there's only one place you'll be, and it's where Colaccini was, it's where Gary Bennett was, it's where Rugen Agbula was, etc., etc. It's back in the changing room for an early bath or shower. And that's not what I want to see. But unfortunately, I think this game's got a red card, maybe it's two in it. Craig Pawson is the referee, South Yorkshire official. He's managed to take one Newcastle game this season, I think, and that was against Brentford. Newcastle winning the game 1-0. And of course, our favourite topic on the show, VAR. And of course, there's none for this particular tie. Despite the fact that the Stadium of Light does have the equipment installed at the Stadium of Light. We could have had VAR, but there isn't any VAR. But I am more nervous now than I was 4 weeks ago, and rightly so, I think, is my answer.
We're going to talk to you, Ted, now. Obviously, BL Madrid, as you're calling it. You've sacked Tony Mowbray. You brought in Michael Beale now, obviously a change of manager, which has sort of tried to change your season in terms of getting some goals scored and stuff like that. We talk about there with Newcastle, obviously their run of form late not being the greatest, but they still managed to score 2 goals against a good Liverpool outfit. They're still managing to score. They're still quite threatening. Isak, Gordon, Joe Linton, you know, these types of players in the championship would destroy many a team. So, I mean, there's still, for me, I guess, a sense of a very strong Newcastle outfit that is travelling to Sunderland. But obviously, I feel like you're getting them at the right time, if there is any right time for a Sunderland Newcastle derby. And obviously, you know, Sunderland, you know, under Michael Beale have kind of changed the way they're playing a little bit.
Yeah, I think they've been a lot less fussy in terms of in terms of taking chances. I mean, you see the goal that Pritchard scored against Preston on New Year's Day. And fantastically hit. And he's look, if Alex Pritchard's fit, he's a Premier League player all day long. He's technically fantastic, tactically very astute. He's one of these kind of in the mold of like a bit like what Paul Scholes was. I'm not comparing the two before we get excited and we start getting loads of comments. But he's one of those who can direct play. And, you know, like sort of he could receive the ball, point to a couple of players where he wants them to go and get the move flowing. As well as that, he's got a shot on him. So he's a danger man for us, without a doubt. And Beale is encouraging them to shoot more. That where we were doing before was we almost wanted to become the Arsenal of the Championship and walk it into the net. And you can't do that, because in the Championship, you get so many bodies behind the ball in defence. it's nearly impossible to do what Arsenal do. So you've got to abandon that. You've got to try something else. So where I think we're going to get some joy out of this, I actually hope Kieran Trippier plays as well, because I honestly think Jack Clarke will get a bit of joy out of Kieran Trippier. Yes, Trippier's he's been a fantastic right back for many, many years. I just think with the pace of Clarke, and Clark's got this trick in him where he can get, and it doesn't matter how good the right back is, he can get the right back to commit to a challenge. And that's his trick, and I think that's where he could potentially get some joy. Whether Trippier plays, obviously that's down to Newcastle, I guess. Maybe he just needs a night away in a hotel or something to recoup. But yeah, what?
No comment.
Where else? I think Rusyn. Now, I know obviously we can't get too excited because it's a striker that scored one goal. But we have a striker that scored one goal. What you will see from Rusyn, and I'm excited for him to get a chance to do this. I hope he gets a start because he deserves it. This kid, he looks nothing. He's a slim lad. He's not particularly tall. He's not particularly well built. But this kid is brave as a lion, man. He's absolutely just no fear. He got clattered by one of the Preston centre-backs who just literally stood his ground, absolutely knocked him off his feet. The kid didn't even complain, wasn't asking for a free kick, got up, jogged it off. He looks like he's walked straight out of the Spetsnaz. You know, that short kind of Ukrainian haircut and just looks like a bit of a psycho, you know? But he looks sharp, and I think, you know, depending on what the Newcastle defensive pairing is for the centre-backs, I think he can get across them. I think he can worry them with a little bit of pace. So yeah, Paddy Roberts might not be playing. That's going to be an awful shame if Paddy Roberts isn't playing. But listen, we managed to win without him. We've got to play the hand we're being dealt. So yeah, we've got that. Job's one of them for me. I don't know whether this game's just coming around at the wrong time for him because he just looks like he needs a bit of a rest. He's a 17, 18-year-old kid. He's played every single championship game bar one this season. He might be a little bit jaded, but we've got the likes of Ekwa, who's proven more so now as the season goes on. Once he's come back from injury, he's our Rolls Royce in midfield, and he can dictate play. He's calm, and I think he can. You know, he's not one of these who's going to tear into challenges against the two Brazilians. I mean, your midfielders, not the hair removal process. So yeah, I think there's plenty of players in our side who can cause problems. I think defensively, I think there are lads who can actually put it in there. I can't wait to see what Trey Hume does against Anthony Gordon. I think that's going to be a big professional test for him. Gordon's a very, very good player, somebody who I think will be in the England squad sooner rather than later. But I think Trey Hume's got to step up to the mark. He loves a big tackle. As long as he's sensible about it, I think he'll keep him quiet, or he's got the ability to at least. The bit where I do worry, you might get some joy down our right-hand side. Down your right-hand side, down our left. We're a little bit unsettled on the left side. Unless he's just come back from a really, really long-term injury. Just played his first game, in fact, on New Year's Day against Preston. Unless he give a great performance, very assured, like he hadn't missed it at all. But, you know, it's that match sharpness. This is a step above. This isn't playing against Preston North End. We're playing against a top half Premier League side. So you've got to kind of be on top form. If all of those players can reach their peak, I haven't even covered Anthony Patterson, who for me is absolutely, without doubt, the best goalkeeper in the Championship. He is, without a shadow of a doubt. He's fantastic. Needs to work in his distribution a little bit, but as far as shot stopping and commanding, quietly, just very, very effective. If he's on form, he's going to be difficult to beat. He really is. So yeah, listen, who knows? If every single player in our squad can play to their absolute potential, then we can cause problems, 100%.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. Good to hear. I've got. We'll get to sort of the crux of it now. So I've got a big one for you both, right? And I need 3 points from you. All right. So I need one, your score prediction. I need, secondly, your man of the match, right? And thirdly, this is the big one, I need the manager result from it. All right. For Newcastle, is Eddie Howe going to get the sack, or will he continue if they do lose? And over to you, obviously with Ted, with Michael Beale. What will happen with Michael Beale if it is a big loss or if it is a Sunderland win? I'll start with you, Steve. Give us a match prediction, your man of the match, who you think is going to be the star man out in the midfield, and what happens with Eddie Howe, obviously, if the result goes against Newcastle.
I'll start with Eddie Howe. I don't think this game will be the end of him if he loses. I think there'll be a meltdown on social media, which is not the real world. I think that there will be, the atmosphere against Manchester City at home, I think will be in full support of Eddie Howe and the players, despite the result if Newcastle were to lose. Because it's in the past, you move on to the next game, you're playing Manchester City. League form is all you'll have to play for then. And I think, the support will be there for all to see against Manchester City, despite a bad result. Newcastle win, of course, then it's a different kettle of fish. That could be the blue touch paper that reignites Newcastle's season. You beat Sunderland comprehensively in the FA Cup. You're into the next round. It also means the Villa game would be postponed, which would give Newcastle a chance to get players back. Hopefully we'd get a home draw against lesser opposition, which would give us a chance to potentially build something to look forward to. And then if we got a decent result against Man City, your season's back on track. And Eddie Howe's job is not under threat. So it's fine margins. 4 weeks ago, Eddie Howe could do no wrong. 4 weeks on, it's doom and gloom, and you've got Howe in, Howe out debate going on, as well as Ashworth in, Ashworth out debate going on. So, at the moment, we're in that period of knee-jerk reactions from people, which isn't healthy. So I don't think this result will see the end of Eddie Howe at Newcastle. If Newcastle lose, no, I don't think he'll go. Who's going to be the key players? The fittest ones is the answer to that question. Whoever is fit for Newcastle United is going to be a threat. At this moment in time, I would say your star man is still going to be Alexander Isak. I think he's head and shoulders better than anybody else who will be stepping on that pitch at the weekend. He's a proven goal scorer at international level and in the Premier League, and he finds the goal with ease. We've got to get the ball to him though, and I think Bruno Guimaraes is either going to be the hero or the villain in this game. He's either going to be the man who makes it tick for Newcastle and fires the bullets for Isak to score, or he's going to get sent off. And that's the big worry for me, as I've already pointed out. So for me personally, I think prediction-wise, I've never thought about it yet, but I'll because of the bad feeling that I've got around it. But I'm going to say Newcastle are going to win. And I'm going to say it's going to be close, but I'm going to go 2-1. It's a popular scoreline in the derby.
Yeah.
It is a popular scoreline. My heart says Newcastle and Sunderland could probably play out a draw here, and it'll go to a replay at St James's, which is everybody's worst nightmare. But my head won't allow us to say that we're going to go out. So I'm going to say 2-1 win to Newcastle.
All right, over to you, Ted. Same question. We need a match prediction, your man of the match, and what will happen, or what would be the social media, the fallout, if they will, to Michael Beale if he wins, obviously, or if it's a bad loss.
I'll start with Beale. This draw was already made before Michael Beale came in, so I think in that respect, if we were to get beat and were to get beat heavily, it's something that we had in our minds before Michael Beale came along. It's still one of those cases where he hasn't had an awful lot. I think up till New Year, he'd had as many training sessions as we'd had games. So it was like he'd had 3 training sessions and 3 games. It was absolutely incredible start to life as Sunderland head coach. He has got a bit of time to affect that. Listen, if they pull off what I think is a really tall order, if they pull it off and they pull off a win, keys to the city, mate, because that's what it means to Sunderland. It absolutely means that much. Michael Beale would never have to pay for a drink in the town ever again. There would, there'd be any amount of songs written in his honour and all that sort of thing. He'd be handed babies and everything. It would literally be that. It would literally be that.
Cheesy chips and Blue Panda pop for life.
Exactly, mate. Exactly that. Cheesy chips and garlic sauce. Don't forget the garlic sauce, Steve. Yeah, they would absolutely love him. That's all it takes. And even if it's an unlikely hero who pops up and scores a 90th minute one that comes off their backside and goes in and takes us through and beats them, they'd still be just talked about like absolute gods forevermore, So if they get beat, I don't think people will be too critical of him. I think he's tinkering a little bit, and I kind of like what he's doing with the tactical side of things. So it remains to be seen what side he puts out and how he sets them up as well. It's going to be really interesting to see that. So yeah, win, hero. If we lose, I don't think it's going to be that much of a shock. So I don't think it'll affect him too badly. So it's maybe not a bad one for Michael Beale anyway. In terms of a man of the match, the obvious one is Jack Clarke. The kid is Premier League quality. There's no doubt about that. His time at Sunderland has helped him rediscover the player that everybody knows he can be. That's why Spurs paid big money for him when he left Leeds. This kid has talent in abundance. He's very, very difficult to play against. It's why I would have thought he's probably our most fouled player. He's just an absolute nightmare for right backs. He really is. He can go to the byline and whip a cross in. He can cut inside and get a shot away, or whip a curling cross in. You just don't know what he can do. He can start and stop at such a hell of a pace. He's just a nightmare. So I think Clarke is he's the natural one that I think is. But if you want an unsung hero and you are going to absolutely be, your flabber is about to be gasted here, right? This is a game that's made for Luke O'Nien.
Hey,
I never thought you'd say that.
Never thought. That is the biggest anti.
No. I'm going to hold you to account on that. I'm not anti Luke O'Nien.
You're not.
I don't like him at centre back. I don't. He gives me deep anxiety when I watch him at centre back. Yeah. It's the reason these are going grey, you see, on the field. But no, this is made for Luke O'Nien. It really is. Either to be a match saver or possibly even a match winner, because the kid's got a shot on him. He's been close a couple of times in the last few games, and you just think, yeah, go on, son, make a name for yourself. I think that's the one. If you want a prediction, man, I didn't want you to do this, because I've never, ever made a prediction on a Sunderland-Newcastle game, ever. Not ever. But you're going to hold me to it, I know, because you're a pain in the backside.
I am,
but, yeah, you mean mate. I too am going to go for 2-1 Sunderland, but the Sunderland.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, as the mutual lads, I am ecstatic. I cannot wait for it. I'm actually predicting a 1-1 draw just because I want to see the replay so I can, juice this for all I can on the breakfast radio over the next month. So I'm hoping for a 1-1 draw. I think, like you guys said, though, I think there's some red cards in there as well. I think it's going to be a hotly contested affair. It's very, very tantalizing for me. I can't wait to watch. Just as a mutual, and just to see, what it's all about for us here in the Northeast, and what it means for a Newcastle v Sunderland, because we've had Borough v Sunderland this season already. We almost got Newcastle v Borough in the Carabao Cup, wasn't meant to be, but we've got this one now in the FA Cup to look forward to. And for us here on the Northeast Brekkie Show, I tell you what, it's a tantalizing affair, especially for me come Monday's show, lads.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody's calling in sick.
So that's what we're talking about, the Northeast Footy Breakfast Show. Steve, Rye and Ted, or Ted, Rye and Steve, or Rye, Steve and Ted, or Rye, Ted and Steve.
Well done.
Present a bingo.
And there's nothing called the rat. It's actually called the cat.
That's our championship podcast right there, right? The rat.
The rat.
But obviously the Red and the Tune as well. It's three radio stations, all broadcast simultaneously, Monday to Friday, and it's 7 till 9. And as you can tell, we do have a laugh. It is great. And we're often joined by Radio Dad Dave Roberts, formerly of Sky, and Daz as well. Let's not forget Daz, Radio Uncle.
Uncle Daz.
Uncle Daz, he's fantastic.
Celebrity chaser.
Celebrity chaser, he is. He's absolutely brilliant. And just want to say a thank you to them for pulling us together, because it is great. And I'm sure
it's brilliant.
We're going to be coming onto your YouTube channel, right? Tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel. What's it all about? Where can people find your match day lives, etc.? And I think I'm going to come on and be a neutral when Sunderland play Middlesbrough in February. So where can people find you, right?
So my name is Invictus on YouTube. Obviously, it's INRICTUS. It's a play. I'm an ex-military man. I retired injured after 12 years. It's based on the name Invictus. My first name's Ricky, and I've just changed the Vic to Rick. That's how clever I was. But it's got sentimental meaning to me, that name. Obviously, Invictus. You know about Invictus Games, injured vets, run by Prince Harry as well. I'm an injured vet of the Australian military. I was injured in Afghanistan. So that's where you can find me, Invictus on YouTube. It's all about the borough. But I also focus on a couple of other teams that I like in the NFL, in Dallas Cowboys and Adelaide Crows as well behind me in the AFL, which is my local sport here in Australia. I do every watch along. It is at silly times, 2 a.m. normally, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. That's when I can get up and watch the borough for a local time for you guys. But it is silly o'clock for me, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. And and obviously I'm going to try and do some more stuff with you lads as well. Obviously, we got a great sort of relationship now with the Northeast Brekkie Show crew. So everything to come this year on the Invictus YouTube channel. And I appreciate you just having me on today, Steve, as well. It's great to be part of NUFC matters. Although we do hear about it quite a lot on the Northeast Brekkie Show. So I feel like I'm a regular.
Even the ad breaks long, lads. That's longer than what you. I was waiting for you to go. God, that's nearly as bad as your headline.
It was nice to get a break from Rye.
That's a Ted headline.
I'll tell you what, though. That Mr. Vicky, I want some of those chili sauces when I come over in February.
I'll get you some of them. They're absolutely fantastic. So, Ted, obviously you're a new recruit to this, but I mean, you're good at what you do. You're good at putting this stuff across, and we do so much on the Breakfast Show. Are you thinking about doing a bit more? I mean, you're a regular on a website, aren't you? You're right on a Sunderland website.
I've nearly always been like all about the written word more than anything, which is, if the listeners of the show know by my poetry. I've always been about the written word, but I mean, this is something I want to do. I've got a couple of ideas. I've even run one of them by Rye as well. A little idea that I've got that's kind of a little bit of a take on the Hot Wings kind of interview show that's out there, Hot Ones it's called. I've kind of got a bit of a take on that I'm working on at the minute, which is Chewing the Crust, where I'm going to get a guest on. We're going to share a takeaway pizza. Obviously, we're going to have to do it online because I'm over in Cyprus. But basically sit, have a chat about our favourite foods. We'll chat about what they've got going on in their lives. Talk about the football as well. I want to get real fans involved in that. I want to get some of the ex-players involved in that as well. So obviously, I'll be pestering the likes of Clarkey and Darren Williams and Higgy as well to sort of lend us a bit of time for that. I'm very, very new to this. I love doing it. I take those compliments absolutely massively, because you lads are fantastic at what you do. I know, obviously, we're rivals and all that sort of thing, and we will grief each other about the football. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we're three lads who are just kind of, doing our thing, supporting our club, and just want to do things a little bit better in terms of the media side of things as well, and getting our opinions out there and encouraging other people to do the same as well. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Great stuff. Well, good luck with that. And I'm sure we'll team up again on here at some point. But I think I just want to say thanks to you two guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, mate.
And as this is a pre-record, enjoy your day, Rye. And
thank you.
Me and Ted better go and get some sleep and get ready for the breakfast
I'm
show
off to work now, so yay. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
And I'm off to watch the darts, which will have already been played by the time people watch this show on Thursday. But I'm off to watch the darts, so I'm going to enjoy that. Take care, lads.
Enjoy.
Have a great day, lads.
See you, lads.
Bye.